Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Batman 66 episode review. Today we're reviewing the episode The Penguin Goes Straight, with Burgess Meredith once again waddling his way into another Batman 66 adventure. So, let's get into it. Our story begins, well, ironically, at a movie theater. You see, back in those days, you must understand, there was something called intermission. So halfway through the movie, they would pause it, and then you could go out, get popcorn, drinks, and come back in. They don't do that anymore, but back then they did. Anyway, so when this happens, people are coming out, and we see the Penguin talking to this old lady, discussing, about like how grand the movie was, until they're interrupted by a hold-up. And surprisingly, the Penguin subdues the criminal and wins the affections of one lady in the crowd, who is revealed to be Sophia Starr, a wealthy Gotham socialite. With the Penguin not buying it, the Penguin's possibly going straight and finding the whole story to be preposterous, even though there were dozens of witnesses who could prove it, they call up Batman. And of course, there's the usual Wayne Manor scene with Dick, Bruce, and Aunt Harriet essentially playing golf until Alfred comes in and discreetly saying the bat phone. Of course, he uses a special code, so that way Aunt Harriet won't find out, but nonetheless it happens. Then we have the opening credits. Now, whilst driving, they're given a call. Whilst driving, they're given all the info they need, and Batman finds it hard to believe that the Penguin would go straight. But they need to interrogate the guy that was caught and hoping to deduce any more clues. And of course, we then cut to a scene where Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara are doing some interrogation. And of course, it's not going so well. So they come up with another idea. They start turning off the lights, and then they see Batman's shadow, bats flying around. A really cool scene, and really just shows that even though it was campy, they were willing to do some serious moments. Of course, the thug that they're interrogating is scared as hell and runs, only to go headfirst into a wall and knocking himself out. Realizing that lead is now a dead end until he recovers, they then get word that Penguin has entered the Millionaires Club, and believing the Penguin could possibly be pulling a robbery, they quickly get in the Batmobile and drive off to the club. But the Penguin was not there to rob the place, but was actually to stop a robbery in progress and saves a millionaire's life. Now, of course, Batman and Robin get way too late and jump to the wrong gun, but the millionaire says, "You got it all wrong, Penguin saved me." And realizing that something's just off, the Penguin, being the little bird he is, smugs his nose in it and also has set up a protective agency, and essentially to become Batman's rival. With this, we then cut to another scene with the Penguin and his goons, and these goons were the same guys that tried to pull off the robbery at the Millionaires Club, are at the hideout having the usual plan. We don't know what Penguin is up yet. It hasn't been revealed in this episode, but the goons are just wondering what's going on, because the millionaire Penguin saved was willing to pay the Penguin, for helping him, like a couple of $100,000, but he turned it down. They find it weird that he would do that. The Penguin says, "I'm not after thousands, I'm after millions." And his plan is to pull a trap that Batman will inevitably fall into, on which it springs that we'll never be able to come back from. We haven't fully understand that yet, but we definitely know it has something to do with Sophia Starr. Again, we don't know his endgame plot yet, but we do know that, what he's got up his sleeve. With that, Batman and Robin decide to, take down, try to find evidence on the Penguin. So what they try to do is set a trap for Penguin, and they do this by finding out that Sophia has this valuable, rare collection of jewels. And what he plans to do is send Alfred in undercover, take photos of these jewels, then they can make replica jewels with tracking devices, then they will switch, and if Penguin takes them, they'll be able to track him, capture Penguin red-handed, and send him, and essentially for whatever plot he's after. Of course, then we get to the scene with Alfred essentially you know, doing some undercover work, and it's really fun. It's a really fun scene, and it ends with Alfred just getting away. As soon as that happens, Batman and Robin have made their their fake duels with tracking devices and plan to pull off this switcheroo. As soon as they get to the safe where they plan to do it, they are ambushed by the Penguin and his two goons, and a fight breaks out. Of course, Batman and Robin and victorious but quickly run away when Sophia enters the room, and the Penguin managed to turn the story, making it that Batman and Robin were trying to pull off a robbery, and he and his goons prevented them. With this, they are now within all the papers. They are looked down by all of Gotham, and essentially Batman and Robin are forced to go underground and hiding. And even though Commissioner Gordon doesn't believe this, he knows that this would really affect their image. Gordon then gets a call from the Penguin asking how the manhunt is going, but also inviting him and Chief O'Hara to come down to a sort of soiree party that's being held at an amusement park. With that phone call ended, Commissioner Gordon naturally calls up Batman and tells what the Penguin said, but he warns him not to go anywhere near that amusement park, knowing that he will have to arrest him on sight. Realizing that, he hangs up. Batman and Robin know this might be their only chance to find out what the hell the Penguin's up to, and hopefully get him in something crooked that the warrant for his and Robin's arrest will have no choice but to be thrown out of court. But Robin asks the real question: is it possible that the Penguin really has gone straight? Batman is not convinced and says that he just might be pretending to be. As soon as they get to the amusement park, they are ambushed by a trap the Penguin has set and has tied them up behind a firing range, and essentially plans to kill them. But here's the twist: he's given the loaded rifles to Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara, and practically says if you could hit these targets, he will donate a sizable check to the police pension fund. But, and here's another twist, behind the target is Batman and Robin hung up, blindfolded, and essentially that's where we end our cliffhanger. The cast pretty much remains the same, and Harriet, even though little screen time she had, is still such a delight to have. And I like how Alfred here has given more to do. I like how Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon really showed their loyalty to Batman when they knew the Penguin was up to something, that this was really out of character, but they still needed to make sure Batman was at least fully aware of it. So I like how his first instinct was to call him, and even after the fake, jewel robbery, he pretty much still covers for them. Same with Chief O'Hara. He's mad. I also like how he's mad at the citizens for believing that Batman would do this. Again, Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara may not be the best cops, but they're certainly not crooked, and they're certainly loyal to Batman. I also like how Batman and Robin are put in this position. This is very new. Again, I like how Season 1 always did new things in its early run, and this is just great. I also like how the interrogation scene, even though they're not great cops, we still see that they are true cops deep down. And I also like how we still haven't found out the villain's plot yet, which reminds me, Burgess Meredith is the classic Penguin. And for me, the Penguin has always been my favorite Batman villain. Burgess Meredith is still absolutely eye-catching on screen. And I do like having a bit of the smug arrogant a bit. Like, again, they know that he's up to something, but they have no proof. Overall, for me, Burgess Meredith just is great. We still haven't figured out his plot, and I do like how he's always thinking several moves ahead. And is enticing Batman a bit. I really, really love that. Also, another thing is Sophia Starr. Now, Sophia Starr is portrayed by Kathleen Crowley. Hopefully that name is pronounced right. Basically, she is an actress who's had numerous television and movie roles to her name. Here, she plays this socialite who is instantly taken by the Penguin after his heroic deed. The one thing I always admitted about the Penguin is the fact that, well, for me, he's one of those villains who I could believably use a plot of, going legitimate, going straight, and is also, out of all the villains, to really be like a ladies' man. And I really just buy this. I really just buy it, and also buy it that she is falling head over for him, and sees him as this person that sees her that no one else does, and I really buy that, and it really makes me feel sympathy for her when we get to the part 2 bit of the episode, but that's for the other review in the upcoming. For me, The Penguin Goes Straight is a fun episode. It introduces a lot of things, and it's also the first time, I think, in the series where Penguin tries to go straight as a plot device. And that has always been used so much in the comics, at the time, beyond the time. Though, to be fair, it's not the first time he tried to go legitimate. If you think about it, in his first outing, he tries to go legitimate by operating an umbrella factory. Then again, an umbrella factory, and he's trying to go legit straight, and he's the type of criminal I can buy in 66, the 66 TV show, being in that high society. I also need to point out the thing I always loved about the villain is the fact that he just, like how he's several steps ahead of Batman. He's always thinking moves ahead, and knows how to pull his strings, which I really love about this guy in this episode. It's really great. However, there are some flaws I need to point out. How maybe the events of this episode wouldn't have happened. First off, if Batman knew Penguin was guilty, what they should have done is not try to, done something. What they should have done was just stand back and waited for him to pull something off. And that's kind of it, really. And when they got caught, well, Commissioner Gordon would have come out and said that they tried to plan a sting operation, believing that the Penguin may not be entirely, plausible. For me, like I said, there's several other than those two bits, but I understand that Penguin did pull the strings and was maybe pulling at Batman's ego. So I can understand maybe why those things were chucked out the window. Other than that, it's a pretty good episode. I wouldn't say it was, but I will admit it's not as groundbreaking compared to the Penguin's first outing. It's definitely better than the Penguin's first outing, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite Penguin episode, but it's definitely an improvement. And that's it, The Penguin Goes Straight. A really fun, entertaining episode, nothing groundbreaking. It introduces several elements that this Penguin will be definitely known for in the series to come. Way more than his first outing, but still, it's a really solid entry. Next time we'll be reviewing the Part 2 episode, No He Ain't, which is the conclusion in this Penguin 2-parter. Until then, tune in next time. Same Steven hour, same Steven channel. So long for now.